It's the adapter. I had to get it. I got a few of those, like, we're recording, by the way.
Cool. Is this the podcast?
This is...
Have we checked James's voice?
No, we haven't checked it.
We haven't checked my voice?
No.
How's that?
Good. Give me some talking.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that throat clearing shit that Mike was doing, but I'll keep talking a little bit until you figure this out.
Is that good? How's he sound?
Oh, it's not called figuring it out anymore.
No.
You gotta, it totally isn't.
You got to figure a way to incorporate Dizzy's street talk in a non-intended usage. Just if that ever comes out randomly.
Yeah, fuck. I think we're good.
Cool. It's weird me not being able to hear. I just got one headphone set on. We're doing this. What would you call this setup? How are we running this? Portably?
Yeah, portable.
More portable than a laptop. Laptop free.
Portable in a fucking permanent studio.
Is this this isn't considered analog recording, is it? It's still digital recording?
Actually it's analog to digital.
And that's what we do when we do in the laptop?
Yeah, pretty
much.
much.
It's XLR? What if it was USB directly? What is just digital?
Well, it's all everything we're doing and everything we have done is digital.
Cool.
Because it's not going to tape, so it's all digital.
Cool. Do you think you're getting bark in your ear? We'll let it go for another couple minutes and then we'll figure it out.
Probably.
But yeah. Cool. Well, James Finn is here, our second guest.
Yeah, second guest. Welcome.
Was this episode 12?
Yeah.
Cool. James actually just got done doing where were you just at?
I was in Austin, Texas.
And you were there. Were you there just to like explore the food of the area?
Like 90%, yeah.
And you picked the location because of that, or because it's a cool city you wanted to visit too, or?
Yeah, so mostly like when I take my foodcations, and yes, I call them foodcations because I'm strictly just going there to eat. Like I just try to figure out like, you know, what kind of food is available, you know, ease of travel from like where I'm at and like cost associated and stuff like that. I'm very budget. I'm very cheap.
Yeah.
Just any city?
Yeah, pretty much any city. I've been to Charleston recently, about this time last year. I went to Charlotte, but I ate a lot there, but it wasn't really like so much just for food.
Yeah.
Like I went there because they've got a theme park there called Carowinds, like roller coasters. Carowinds.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, Carowinds. Carowinds is actually pretty cool because like it's got like 12 or 14 roller coasters, and the park itself actually splits North Carolina and South Carolina. Like as you're just walking around, there's like a solid line through the amusement park, so you can.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Just don't take drugs with you.
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Carowinds. That sounds cool.
Carowinds.
Carowinds.
Like Carolina Winds.
Oh yeah. I love amusement parks. I went to
Fuck yeah, dude.
Cedar Point for like 4 days.
Is that the one in Ohio?
Yeah.
That's like the big boy, right?
Dude, funny you say that. I was too big of a boy to ride some of the rides.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was like the first summer I started losing weight, and there were like 3 rides I could not ride.
No shit.
Yeah, I thought that was a little odd, though. Because one of them it seemed like I was a little too tall for.
What, were you too tall or too wide?
You know, it's one of those things, it's deceiving. Sometimes it looks like it's too tall, but if there was less girth of you, you shockingly can fit into things that you couldn't before that you thought were more height-based. Like, I'd be shocked if I'm too tall to ride a certain roller coaster. I mean, I'm only 6'2". So I feel like they would make roller coasters like maybe above 6'4", you might run into problems, but I don't know why they would plan for a 6'2" guy to not be able to ride a ride, like a newer roller coaster.
Did you feel fat shamed?
It was a little embarrassing. Have you ever had anything like that happen? Like not be able to have something fit on you that it's supposed to, and it's like an embarrassing moment?
Just trying on clothes as a younger lad.
Yeah. You've recently lost some weight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You switched to, what style of dieting did you go about? Or just portions, or what'd you do?
Really just like cut most of my sugars out and, you know, try to control the amount of carbs that I'm eating. I mean, I got diagnosed as type 2 diabetes last year, which is super fun, especially when I got it the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Irish. My last name is Finn. Do you know how much fucking potatoes we eat during Thanksgiving?
So carbs really affect that in general, or does the sugar? It seems like
it's the sugar in the carbs, right?
Well, not quite, because a sugar is not in all carbs, but most carbs metabolize into glucose in the bloodstream. So like you can eat straight sugar, but if you were to eat white bread, it would still jack your would that affect your blood sugar levels or no? If you ate bread.
Yeah, bread's going to cause me a spike. And the thing is, like, diabetes is a very unique disease. Like, different bodies will process different foods different ways.
Okay.
So
you kind of got to learn yourself. Just do you test like your blood sugar a lot with stuff?
Yeah. Well, like I'm lucky enough where like I was able to, just stop drinking the 4 or 5 cans of Mountain Dew that I was drinking a day and saw immediate results. So I test once a morning just to make sure that everything's in check and just kind of watch my diet and just by logging stuff every day, weighing myself every day, I can check trends. If I'm heading in the wrong direction, I can go back and kind of fix it. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe go from 3 to 2 now instead of from 5 to 3 cans of Mountain Dew a day. No. Did you ever drink that much soda in a day?
No.
Like regularly?
No.
Dude, growing up when I was at my biggest, all I drank was soda, dude. I didn't drink any water. Everything had a ton of sugar, and it was mainly soda.
At a young age, I got not diagnosed, but had a minor heart issue. So I cut out caffeine and shit from a very young age, and then have kind of it's like it.
So you don't have any caffeine?
No. I drink caffeine. But
okay.
I do have like a small heart issue that I've probably grown out of at this point.
We should test that one time on an episode.
Yeah, well,
what can you do to test that?
Yeah, can we just give you a bunch of give them a bunch of speed, caffeine?
Yeah, I guess just fucking put a heart monitor on me.
See how many heart monitor and cans of Mountain Dew.
Well, because
see whose heart can take it better.
Dude, it was like sixth or seventh grade or something. I used to. And it still happens sometimes, but I would like go to take a piss and then just feel lightheaded and feel like I was going to pass out.
Damn.
And I told my mom about it and she's like, that's weird. How long has this been going on? I'm like, I don't know, 4 years. So they took me to like.
How old were you?
Like, it was, you know what? It might have been high school. It might have been like 9th grade.
Damn, dude. You reckoned all through middle school you were dealing with that shit.
I just thought it was odd. I just thought it was normal.
Every time I pee, I almost pass out.
I gotta support myself on the fucking wall.
Half my life.
Yeah.
Mom wasn't expecting that answer. She was like thinking you were going to say like that day, 1 week, or maybe a few weeks, and you're like, a handful of years.
It's like every time.
Like never break the seal. Just like keep that seal intact.
Yeah, I actually sit to pee.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
safe.
Yeah, I went and I told my mom about it, and she's like, "That is not fucking normal. We got to get you to patient first right away.
We got to get you standing up when you pee."
Yeah, you quit being a bitch.
I'll show you how to do it. That's what you know. What kind of,
my mom potty trained me.
That's what you know when you're dealing with when like a woman goes to pee outside and it's like, is she gonna squat or is she gonna stand? She's gonna force that shit forward. She gonna just like angle her hips,
put the pelvis out a little bit, and just piss like a man.
Does she stand upright and tilt her pelvis forward, or does she squat?
But you know they have like apparatuses for females.
Yeah, the shiwi.
The shiwi, yeah, where they can just do their business standing up without. Well, I'm sure there's like.
Do you hook it up to the hole?
No, it's like a fun. You just basically piss into a funnel and then it comes out.
A funnel. Oh, so the big funnel end is at the top and it goes down like a beer bong.
Yeah, like you don't like insert the small end of the funnel. It just comes
true
out
love.
like a RCA record player.
Yeah. What's it called again?
Shiwi.
A shiwi. That's like a step up from being willing to like that's like some nasty attraction to somebody. Like, I'm beer bonging that shiwi.
Ew, you don't put your mouth on it and take it in.
Different strokes, different fall. I know that's not what it's designed for, but I thought of it as a beer bong. Oh, by the way, the computer, it just said it was repairing the drive.
I know.
Did it do that last time?
Yeah, it's been doing that.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's been doing that for a while.
Our computer is down.
Yeah, per usual, we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties, but...
So I'm going to introduce James a little bit more.
Yeah, let's get back to that, because I feel like that wasn't a proper introduction.
You guys may have heard him on the Food Network. No. No, he's a comedian from the scene that I've known for pretty much... You started probably right after me. Right around when I started, maybe you did a little bit, but I met you when I had been doing it. Maybe you came to Sean Boland's one time for... I think that's what it was. I think you had done it once before we had that competition thing. Does that sound right?
Before I did the I guess your Color Me Funny competition, I'd probably been around for like 6 months or so.
That makes sense. And I know I met you at Sean Boland's, and it was that night Andrew Redmond, who passed away, was there. Maybe does that sound right? And since then we've just been friends over the years, and you've gotten into some different things. You had your own podcast, and you're starting a new one. We actually talked about how your podcast had like a cool, how there's like different styles of podcasts and different themes. Yours was you would have a guest on, and tell us how like that one was set up.
Oh yeah, the old podcast, The Hang, like we would have typically comics, but like generally just interesting people. I've had pro wrestlers, porn stars,
nice.
chefs. It was, lots of fun, and kind of do like a very impromptu like raps. Like the idea was it was called The Hang because we wanted to kind of replicate like what comics like just hanging out after a show might sound like.
Yeah.
Did everyone make you do something in their expertise? Like, because when I came on, we went through like a squat series that would open up your squat and get you into a better squat position. You said when Missy was on, you guys did vocal drills. And stuff
like the
singing.
idea was to kind of have them do like an activity, whether it's instructional or.
What'd the porn star do?
We actually did
let's
like
get into that.
like. With the porn star, Tommy was on the show also.
Oh man, he's been on our show.
And we did like a dating game type deal where the porn star and her boyfriend, or how I don't know, I think they were boyfriend at the time, but were one couple, and me and my co-host Michelle Belenke were another couple, and it was just like a dating game type deal where like you ask questions and give responses. We had like fucking like cardboard cue cards, and we recorded it. It was a lot of fun, and I did not know my co-host that well, and she did not know me either. So.
They weren't literally dating.
No,
I get that, but what questions were you asking the porn star?
God, I don't remember because this was like 3 or 4 years.
It wasn't
ago.
like it wasn't like overly sexual.
No.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of played out to do to a porn star. Like,
yeah,
they probably just want to like
more
have
about her personality.
Yeah,
we already know the rest.
Yeah.
We know you're down to fuck. I mean, we're talking about we want to get to know other parts of you.
Yeah, all the parts.
Peel back the layers of that onion. What happened when you were 14?
But no, we didn't
did
get
Daddy
into
do?
like too much deep stuff. That didn't sound right either.
She did.
But no, it was really just like like that particular episode. Like it just kind of felt like a dinner party. Like we had some like fine cheeses and wine. We're just like bullshitting. It was really.
Was
fun.
that the first time you met a porn star?
That I know of? Yeah.
Yeah, I met a porn star recently for the first time.
It was a chick porn star?
Yeah.
Local?
Was local at the time, yeah.
Is she blown up?
What's her name?
Draven Star.
Mm.
Kind of like
Draven
goth
Star.
goth chick kind of stuff.
Huh.
AVN award winning Draven Star.
Oh, what was the
Wow.
category? What was the category?
Best blow bang?
Best blow bang.
What's a blow bang?
Okay, so like you know what a gangbang is,
What's
right?
a blow
It's
bang?
like that,
shit.
but just
So
the blowies.
We would
like a
never be so
bukkake.
lucky. Is it a blow bang with a lot of penises, or is it a blow bang with a lot of mouths, or is it kind of a mixture?
No,
I think she was the mouth.
One mouth, 10 penises.
many-
One mouth, one love.
Yeah, like I did not do like intentionally
That
didn't
is
do
like
research before the
Winning
episode
that
'cause I didn't
award.
wanna...
That's like some Ninja Warrior shit.
She said, and I quote,
Like-
she said, she did not suck dick at sucking dick.
God.
I mean, you get the best blow bang award. I can't imagine that you do suck dick at sucking dick.
Do you think she knew going into that scene, this is my opportunity to win, Bill? I'm going to do it up.
It's like
I'm going to leave it all. I'm going to lay like you need like a pep talk. Like you get coached. You're like ready to
like
go.
She's pumped, like this is like the Jordan flu game for her. Like
that's her audition for the blow bang.
Can you look her up, Mike? I want to see this.
The blow bang?
No. I just want to see what she looks like.
Okay. Do you want me just? All right, I'll look it up.
I mean, we can still keep talking, but
okay. No, let me look it up. Tell me what's her name?
Draven Star. Like Raven.
I think I've seen that.
I don't know.
Maybe I. Oh, I see her. This is what she looks like. Yeah, she looks like one of them. What do they call that Suicide Girls thing?
Yeah. That's
like Christy Mack and all that stuff. Minus the. She's straight edge, Mike. Damn.
Well, so was.
She was from the Baltimore area?
Yeah.
Huh.
Look her up.
Super fun chick. Really cool to talk to. Just good vibes all around.
Well, I was saying I met my first porn star recently. This guy comes to the gym, and you know,
so it's a dude.
It's a dude.
Okay.
And he's there, and somebody goes, "Do you know that guy's a porn star?" Somebody told me that, and I was like, no, I had no idea. And it makes it so fun because he does like private lessons with my one buddy Greg, and like one time he I heard him say like, "Oh, I gotta go head to work," and immediately I'm just like, you know, this guy is about to go make some porn. Like, what kind of lifestyle do you have when, like, the most together you gotta be is having sex? Like, that is you at your most professional.
Sounds pretty.
I saw him with an entourage out at. I would love to have him on. They had a porn star on. He's a trustworthy guy.
Okay.
We should have him on.
Okay.
He's cool. I really like him.
It's funny you say that because I remember the name. Like,
yeah, I don't know
kind
if I
of.
should say it.
I'm not going to.
It's it's a local name.
I kind of remember the name that you said, and so, like the other day, I was just kind of searching for it.
Yeah.
On the various porn sites, trying to figure out if that's who it was, because I didn't know what the dude looked like. And should I say dude?
Yeah, it's a guy.
Okay.
We can get as specific as you want without saying his exact name. I don't really care.
Well, he probably wouldn't care. If
I know he
said his
wouldn't
name.
care.
I know. I'm not going to, but I was searching, looking for the name that I thought you had said.
Yes.
And found some videos, and then when you went through and did followed some people, I saw the name pop up. I'm like, oh shit, I wonder if this is him.
Oh, it is probably.
And then all of my back research turns out it was right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you immediately when you found out we're gonna get? How did you want? Did Tommy get the porn star? Did you hit? How did you guys get that?
It was actually like Michelle's sister went to culinary school or worked with her boyfriend.
Wow.
Like her boyfriend was a professional chef.
This is an interesting story.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah. That's it's different to meet somebody who's walked a life that you've never met before. It's always the first time you meet someone who does something that's a little crazy like that.
Yeah.
It sticks out.
It seems like it would be an intimidating situation.
It could be, yeah, I mean there's a nature about somebody like that. Like they're just a little more gangster in a way.
Yeah.
There's some sort of thing that
they're regardless of what it is, they're still a part of that fringe society, and they're making a living doing something different than what the norm is.
Yeah.
And then when you find out the fact that they're doing porn, it puts that extra layer on top of it. It's just a completely different world. I mean, you don't meet people that do that regularly.
And it's not directly linked to being destructive.
No.
At times, it's a sign that somebody's desperately in a destructive nature. But
I think throughout the years, the stigma with it has completely changed because now it's become more of an entrepreneurial type spirit, And it's like, I'm doing this, I'm making my own money. When back in like the 70s and shit, it was just people with fucked up pasts.
No, it's definitely, like you said, like very entrepreneurial. People have a lot more control over, what they're doing, how they're putting themselves out there, what level of access they want to provide. And
it's a very like daunting thing to take on. Like, I'm going to have sex on video and I'm going to put it out there for anyone to see.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just doing that because you're liberated and you could do something else, but you're like, I really want to do this. I'm going to do this, and I don't care if everyone knows and sees. That's insane. Like, I would much rather just be a call boy. Like, I would rather just keep it on the low, have like some like old lady that pays you to come over and take care of her, good money. That would be so, like, keep that shit on the low. The fact that they make that illegal and they're like, if you want to do it, you got to put it out there so your parents can see. Like, that's a weird angle.
Yeah.
Like, it's legal, you can do it, but you better let us see. We want to watch. It's a weird thing.
No, like, if people had to watch, like, every time I went out and told jokes, like, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. How is that a loophole?
What?
How can you professionally do porn, but you can't professionally have sex?
You're talking about like prostitution versus porn? I don't know, dude.
How is that not a loophole? I know we don't. I mean, obviously we don't know, but maybe James knows. Do you know the difference there?
No. Like, it's a bizarre, like, laws are crazy, man.
Yeah.
I really don't. I can't. Find the words.
I've always been on the side that if you want to pay for sex and someone's willing to take your money for it, fucking go ahead.
Yeah.
Do it.
No, I'm with you. So you said you like to go on these foodcations. For a while, you had a burger blog, right?
Yeah.
And what was your conclusion on the area? What was the favorite burger you had?
Best burger in Baltimore, and I don't know if this has changed because I haven't really been keeping up with the burger scene in Baltimore. Cooper's.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude.
Cooper's has a good one.
Which one did you go to? The one in Fells for your burger?
Yeah, I went to the one in Fells.
Yeah.
Man,
I've been to the
good.
one in Phoenix, Timonium.
Yeah, like right off of Padonia Road.
Yeah.
Same thing?
Yeah.
No, I think the one in Fells was better. I don't know if it was just.
Yeah, that place fucking rocks.
Yeah.
I go to Jacksonville sometimes.
That one's not bad.
Yeah. I don't know much of the difference, but I've been to Fells like once, twice. Jacksonville more.
You know who had a good burger? They're not open anymore, but there was this place in Canton, like right outside of the square towards Eastern Avenue more. It was called Sauté.
Okay.
They had a fucking awesome breakfast burger it came on an English muffin and had an over easy egg on top of it. God damn, it was so good.
That's how Red Brick, not Red Brick Station. I'm sorry. What was the place that did comedy that had an egg burger back before it was too popular?
I used to live right by that place. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Red House Tavern?
Red House Tavern.
Yes.
They had a burger similar to what you're talking about that was pretty darn good. Yeah, I'm a big fan of burger. I think Cooper's might be my favorite too, actually. I get that, whatever that Wagyu. Apparently, do you know how they make that? Do you know what that comes from?
It's like Japanese cattle.
And they feed it beer, I think, and they massage.
Yeah.
At least it can be made that way.
It's super fatty and really marbleized and just like the highest grade meat.
I might be describing Kobe beef more specifically. There's a chance the other one comes from like Australia, or there's a difference, but they do it in two different areas similarly, and they commonly get misused. But whatever that is, whatever that burger is, I'm about it. Actually, you just went to Austin. I got a kangaroo burger one time in Austin at this place that was did you do the Bat Bridge thing? Do you know about that?
Yeah. I actually stayed the Airbnb I was staying at was like a 22-story apartment complex, and they had a sky deck on the 23rd floor, but just like the timing was never right. Like I went up there one time to try to watch it, and I was up on the roof for like 2 minutes before it started raining, so I said fuck this and just.
Dude, I'm not kidding.
What is the bat bridge?
I want to say it's 2 million bats.
Yeah.
they just come out of it.
I heard it's like 1.5 million bats like reside under this like
Bridge. There's
half-mile
two
bridge that leads like to the Austin Capitol, and then like 20 minutes before sundown during the summertime, or basically like
they just flood out.
Yeah, it's like May to September. They just like all leave at the same time. So it's like this just like black mass just like traveling east across the city.
Fuck that.
When I was there, it happened every night. Bats would come out. I don't know if it was like all of them or what, but if you walk, it was better to walk across the other bridge. If you're walking towards the Capitol from the other side where like a lot of the hotels are, you'd want to be on the bridge on the left, looking at the bridge on the right. And that's the one they come out from. And it is like a line in the air where for forever pretty much. It's not like a big giant mass of them at once.
Yeah.
But it goes on forever, and they're little tiny fruit bats. And if you're by the other bridge, they'll like run into you. They're all over.
Well, have you ever had an interaction with a bat?
Not really.
No.
I maybe got scared a couple times, but never in close corners.
I lived in an old farmhouse growing up, and those motherfuckers would get in the house.
I hear that in attics and stuff.
Yeah, well, like, we'd be, like, sitting watching TV in the living room, and a fucking bat would come flying in.
How do bats get in houses more than birds? That's a thing. People say bats get in their houses, like, right?
Well, because I think bats, like, kind of, not burrow, but make homes and shit in, like, attics. The birds are outside creatures. Bats need a place to, like, hang.
Gotcha.
Right? I guess.
Yeah. And like bats, like I don't think they have a spine. Like I think their body is like very like collapsible and foldables. Where a bird,
yeah, they get in like they're like mice. They get in the smallest holes and crevices and shit in places.
That makes sense. They can do that, dude. They're weird.
Yeah, bats are fucking gross.
They are. They are like mice or rats with
wings.
Yeah. That's what people say, right?
Sky rat.
I
think that's pigeons, but
Elder Scrolls 6.
I don't know what that is.
Skyrim is like an Elder Scrolls.
Oh.
Sky rat. I know there was something else I wanted to think about that I was gonna.
Do you want to think about it, or do you want to talk?
Oh no,
about
I was gonna ask him, but I guess we'll come up to it. If I think of it, I'll think of it. James actually listens to the show.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you caught up? Have you listened to every episode? Where are you at, you think?
I think I'm all caught up. The last episode you guys were talking about like the throat singing competition.
Oh, the Tuvan throat singing. Okay.
So, do you know anything about that?
No, not really.
I've seen James kill karaoke one time. We won't put you on the spot today, but
well, you can sing?
I can do karaoke well if it's the right song. I'm not a singer.
Hook. I've seen the hook. Well, you might have done one other song that night. But you know the hook with like Blues Traveler?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It brings you back.
Yeah, it does.
That song.
It does bring you back.
Killed Dad. And that was like, so like I've always known that's in his back pocket. Like so this is a good question because you're able to sing that song really well. So does that mean that you practiced these songs a bunch of times until you get good at singing them? But if you tried singing another song, it might not sound good at all? Or are you at a level of singing where you can probably sing most things within your range pretty well?
I think if I'm familiar enough with the song, like I can just go up there and do it.
Yes.
And at least stay in key and be
What got you there?
What got me there?
Yeah, like did you practice? Did you just practice doing karaoke?
No, not even like practicing.
You just were able to.
Just being able to and being self-aware enough that if the song goes into a register that I can't do, not try to fucking do that.
Yeah. Stay out of there.
That's interesting. Well, obviously, as you've heard, I'm trying to like figure out ways to get better at singing, and it's interesting because some people like definitely go the route of learning songs and they can perform them well, but then out of their wheelhouse, they really mess up a lot. But it doesn't make sense to me that would be the case. I feel like as good as you are at singing, like if it's not an issue of memorization or something weird like going over the break or like a weird something that you can't do in any song if it's there without a bunch of practice, I'd imagine you should be able just to sing the song once you're that good at singing.
I don't know. Well, are you trying to just become a singer, or are you trying to learn to sing so you can sing while you're playing guitar?
Well,
because like those are two very different
that's
skills.
That's a loaded question, and Mike's gonna give you a
because like I
very long explanation.
I've started to try to learn how to play an instrument. I'm trying to play ukulele, and this is something that like I've encountered also where like I'm starting to gain proficiency with like playing chords and everything.
Yeah.
But like once you try to incorporate singing into that, it completely changes the fucking game.
Well, I would imagine that if it was a very advanced song, it would probably just make it harder to have to play guitar to it as well. Not that I can take on an advanced song easily without guitar. I want to get good enough at singing so I can go out there, and whether I have a guitar or not, but sometimes with a guitar, it would be nice. Just basic chords, though. It doesn't need to be anything technically proficient on the guitar, just something simple. I'd like to be able to sing over it and no one just go like, oh, God. Not that they don't like my voice, but that they're like, they literally, it's not that they think, they know I can't sing. I don't want that to be like possible. Like, I want to get good enough where if somebody was to hear me, they would never, it would be very unlikely or an exception to the rule for them to be like, oh, God, he's awful. That's all. Because I don't need to be pretty singing, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
That's a decent goal, I guess.
Yeah. And again, it's just, trying to find something that, I guess, fits your range. Like, you're not going to go out there and try to sing a fucking Whitney Houston song because nobody should try to do that.
Yes. No, I definitely
Mike might, though.
I know, but... No, he's definitely right. It's tough because the big problem with me is... I like crazy dynamics. I like the idea of stuff going every which direction. I like the idea of one song not sounding like another, like one style not sounding like another. I like when people can go like low, high, like soft, very energetic, even kind of get into bad sounds and then go back to good sounds. And that's my problem, is my vision is a bit too expansive to really polish up any style of singing.
Yeah, well, what you just said is you in a nutshell.
That's definitely a problem in the beginning stages, because if I just stuck to like 1.5 octaves or like 1 octave within any key and just sing within my most comfortable octave and just learn that way, or maybe even transpose stuff to like 1 or 2 keys, I'm sure I would find a sound that, and then when you make a song sound like yourself, and do it to the truest natural way of you, you're gonna find a more natural voice soon. But I'm trying to find new voices. I'm trying to expand ways I sing, and that's
before you even find your voice. You're trying to go outside of where you don't even know where you're supposed to be.
Right. I think what would help me eventually is once I get a little bit better, have somebody really sit down and be like, just experiment. And like, I try one way and they're like, no, like hot or cold. You just say hot if it's good, cold if it's worse. And I'll just make a million adjustments because I have a million different angles I can go with it. Like some people just sing with a placement in their chest voice, right?
Yeah.
Some people sing really some people stick within that one. I would need someone to tell me what sounds the best. I don't know what sounds the best. Yeah, sometimes I'll go up there.
You're just running the fucking gambit, trying to figure out what the hell you like and what you think sounds good.
Right. Like I understand the concept of thinning your vocal folds and having like a little bit lighter of a voice like that. But I don't know if that's better. And then I understand the concept of like a big throat. But I don't fucking know. It's probably just in between, and you add like a sprinkle of each one.
Yeah.
Like more neutral, more relaxed, less forced. Less like driving the steering wheel in a direction and kind of just letting it like just like stip its toe into each kind of direction. Like more subtle, less obnoxious.
I think like music in general is getting like more subtle. Like if you listen to like a Billie Eilish or something like that,
the whisper.
Yeah, she's just whispering and doesn't really like sing. It's just
Rappers don't rap.
Yeah.
They don't have like rhyme schemes or like they don't actually have like verses.
Their bars are like 3 syllables.
Hype and a hook.
Yeah, that's
You have a hype verse and a hook.
And a beat.
And it's a style. You have to have
and it's a
swagger.
dry beat too. Like there's nothing to it. Trap music is very empty.
You just throw a shitload of auto-tune on it and let it ride.
There is a swagger about it, though. I will give it this. If you have like a certain energy about you and presence, I get why it works. Sometimes it is just lifeless to me, and I'm like, this is so phony. This isn't even written by this person. This isn't that. But as long as it has a strong fingerprint of who that person is, I'm okay with it being so simple because they're at least expressing something.
Yeah.
And I like swagger music that just has a sound. Like it could be in a scene in a movie and it would work because it just has this thing.
Yeah, it has like a feel to it. And yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You have one or two people like that and then a bunch of copycats.
It still doesn't take away from the fact that the majority of it is fucking trash.
Dude, I got fucking ripped on hard by this dude because my buddy Elliot was making a thing about radio these days, and he was talking about all the stations. He goes, I don't like one. He was telling why he didn't like 100.7 The Bay that much. Like he only likes like this percentage of songs, and this guy doesn't like. And he's like, was just saying why he found himself listening to NPR more lately, and was basically breaking down the stations. And he broke down 92Q. He goes, what used to be like my big powerhouse has really gotten flat lately. All this, and this guy commented like, calling him like super racist, like how dare you talk about like, you know, music that's not of your culture, like you don't look like you should, you know, Elliot Swain, right?
Yeah, familiar
enough.
Yeah.
He actually has a podcast too. It's like a political thing. But he does like performances, and Elliot can really rap, man. He's like on the down low.
See, that kind of shit makes me so fucking mad, is the fact that someone's calling him racist because he doesn't listen to 92Q anymore because the format has changed and the music has changed.
He's not allowed to have an opinion on it.
Exactly. That's such bullshit. That's the, you know, actually this kind of ties into the shit. It doesn't tie into anything really, but last night I watched the new Chappelle special and the new Bill Burr special. And they pretty much both of them are just ripping apart how fucking pussified our society has become.
I think Burr probably did a little better.
I think so too.
Chappelle was a little hacky with it at times, right?
Yeah.
As from an outsider looking in, do you see that? Mm-hmm. You see that, right? I don't know if you're aware of the new Chappelle special much, James, other than what people said.
I haven't seen either of those, but I of like new Netflix stuff, I did see Aziz Ansari's new special.
Okay.
And a lot of like from Aziz coming from a standpoint where he was a victim of a Me Too type movement. He did definitely break down like Me Too and cancel culture.
He talked about that?
Yeah, like very, very, very
good
briefly.
because his whole situation was kind of like bullshit. Like,
it was weird though.
Didn't they?
If it was true, it was weird.
Well, wasn't it? I'm not entirely familiar with it, but wasn't it just? He was just a victim of a bad date, pretty much.
I think it was a bad date, but also like poor communication. But the victim also said, like, you know, she felt compelled because he was in a position of power or had some notoriety, and he kept on saying, "Well, let me go down on you." She said, "No." It's like, "Well, please, I'm really good at it," and just like he kept on, like he said, like he kept on pushing her until she's like, "All right, fine," and like it's just like a. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, say right or wrong, but it's like...
It's a slippery
like
slope.
Slippery slope and just, like, poor communication on both ends. And he didn't go, like, very deep into it, but he definitely spent, like, 5 minutes addressing it and saying, you know, like, you know, what I did was wrong. Like, I understand how this could have affected this person. And then after he addressed the big elephant in the room, like, spent the rest of his special just breaking down, like outrage and cancel culture. And, like he did it like the entire time he was sitting down, which really bugged me because like I really feel like if you're a comic sitting down, like that's reserved for like the elder statesmen, and I don't think Aziz Ansari's there yet, and I don't know if I'm at a stage where I can be like criticizing those.
Oh yeah, that makes it tough too. It's hard.
Yeah. A local comic criticizing.
It's like, look, I'm
national...
a mid-level feature comic at bar shows in Baltimore. Let me speak on what Aziz Ansari is talking. Like, I don't have that credibility.
But see, you know what? That's the beauty of today's society is everybody can. It's the beauty and the downfall is that everybody can speak on every issue. Every person now has a voice. It doesn't make their voice any more valuable, but everybody can say anything. It's like, it's a double-edged sword.
And dude, for me, to be honest, like comedy is one thing that actually has taught me the reverse of what that guy was saying about 92Q. The fact that Elliot was open enough to like 92Q a few years back and now doesn't means off the bat it's probably not just a racist thing.
No,
what ties that I know, but it's going to come back full circle.
Okay.
What ties that guy to 92Q is bias. It's a cultural bias that he's defending. And similarly, I really and this is what I like the flip side of it is I sometimes respect and want to know more what a stand-up comedy fan thinks than a stand-up comedian does about another comedian's special. Like comedy, are these comedians who have strong opinions about Dave Chappelle the ones who are paying to go to comedy shows and the ones who are actually real fans? Like, if you're a fan of stand-up comedy just because you enjoy it and you have a strong opinion on it, I think you have more of a reason to make a post, not just because you're a comedian.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at an MMA gym. I was a fan of MMA way before I ever fought. I think that I had a very good way of breaking down fights and predicting fights and looking at people's fighting ability before I ever learned it.
It's an outside looking in type
deal. So like with the Chappelle stuff, I'm definitely interested in what like people who haven't written comedy see. With Chappelle, for me, maybe you might agree with this, and you know this style from him from seeing him before this special. He has a very long... At times, your suspension of disbelief needs to be a bit high because he tells stories that sound made up. Like, some of his stories do not sound real, except for, like, his first special back after his break. Like, come on, the dude jerking off on the bus story, like, that's no way is that a real story, right? Yeah. But then he has, or he goes the route of, I'm going to attack this, and he goes about the setup in a very traditional, kind of hacky, long-winded, pulls you in with a cool style, but the punchline is the art of him, dude. He has a good fucking line coming for you with almost all of his bits. His punchline and his reversal or whatever you're waiting for almost always hits hard.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how I saw the new special. I thought it obviously was very observational. He was talking about pretty much the whole time about how fucked up everything is now.
Yeah.
I thought some of it was good. I thought some of it fell a little flat and that people were laughing just because they're at a Dave Chappelle tape special and you have to laugh for it.
Yeah, no, I think some of those, like, once you reach a level of like a Dave Chappelle, like sometimes laughs aren't earned as easily as they are for, like a mid-level comic or something like that. Just
and that comes with the territory. You earn that kind of respect within the community.
Like I watched, while I was on the plane, I watched Jim Gaffigan's new special.
Okay.
And, like, it felt like Jim Gaffigan's very talented, very funny comedian, but it felt like every single line that he was giving was getting, like, a 9 reaction.
Yeah, and it makes it dishonest. What happens is even the performer can get so wrapped up in that like it loses like when you watch a show on a laugh track, it almost becomes annoying.
Dude, I can't stand it. Any show.
No,
any
you're 100%. Like it took me out of it. Like I had to my brain had to take like 10 minutes to adjust to the way that the audience was reacting, so I could just watch it as a fan and just like take it in and enjoy it myself.
Now, you're a pretty safe comedian in some ways. Like, I mean, you're not going out there if there's a boundary that you want to break because it makes too much sense for you, and I'm sure you'll do it. But, like, have you ever really offended somebody or said something afterwards where you were like, I cannot believe if that was recorded and blasted everywhere. This is going to make me look really bad. Because our buddy Shane Gillis,
he's going through all that shit now with the SNL
we know
stuff.
him really well, dude.
Because I heard it on the radio.
You know him, right?
Yeah, I've done a couple shows with him. So
yeah, I heard that on the radio the other day. I'm like, holy shit, that name sounds so familiar in terms of like a local name.
Yes.
Yeah, because he was from like Harrisburg, Shippensburg, Pennsylvania area.
Dude, you probably saw him on flyers. I've like booked him as a headliner like a handful of times. I did shows with him back before he ever came into Philly or Baltimore. He was doing Harrisburg shows with this guy Max Racy. I saw him when he was such a beginner that he read his jokes and stuff off of like a sheet of paper practically, and he was still funny as shit. But it was like kind of shorter, quirkier like things, and then he eventually immediately got to like almost like Louis C.K. level of like, these are my long form bits, and yes, they're that funny.
Oh, like
people
that,
are gonna
that
laugh.
Louis C.K. level in terms of like
he's a smart guy.
This
He's
shit's
naturally
that
funny.
good. Not he's cranking in front of people.
Like he has long, really well thought up bits that are on relatable things, like his relationship material, his this material. It's almost all insanely good bits for just being a local comic. That was the undeniable thing about Shane. No matter what you thought of him, whether it was your style or not, he had very, very masterful, like 8-minute chunks of just meaty, funny shit, dude.
Yeah.
Well, he blew up. And it makes sense. He's that type of funny. But can you recall anything that you've said that is... I want you to say it again so we can put it on video.
Yeah. So we can put it on video.
Well, my thoughts on Chinatown are as follows. No. No, like I've used like a couple times. I had this one bit that I really don't do anymore because it uses an F word used to describe gay people.
Or a cigarette in England.
Or a cigarette in England. And like it's just a very like throwaway use of the term, and like I've told this joke to, you know, not that I'm necessarily looking to get
Fruity's that word.
Not
right?
that I'm necessarily looking to get my joke co-signed. Like I think like it was funny enough like when I said it, but like I don't really tell that joke anymore because it's dated and like BronyCon's not even like a thing anymore. So
it's dated and that it's well I'm not going to say it's dated because I haven't heard the joke, but it's and that was one of the, within like the first 5 minutes that was one of the things that Chappelle said. He's like, just people are going, anytime you make it, people are going to comb through your past and they're going to go through whatever you've said, whatever you've done to fucking ruin you before you even get to the top. And I don't think that's fucking fair. Dude. I don't think it's a cool thing to do. Like the whole, what's it like doxing? Is that's a thing that people do. I think
doxing. I don't know what that is.
I'm not 100% sure either. I think it's just where you like expose somebody for their past and the shit that they've done. Like when somebody makes it big, I don't understand what anybody else gains from digging up their past to fucking ruin them and bury them.
That's why a lot of times those people, unless they are serious victims, they don't get very far because they're not the types of people who do things that give them gain. They're looking at other, you know, they're held back. Like this guy who was taking issue with Elliot, he's like some drunk on the streets, hangs out at the park all day, has nothing going for himself, mid-30s. He's broke. He don't have many friends. He posts every 30 minutes on Facebook. You get what I mean? Yeah. So like might just be shit like that. Like I'm sure if any of us were to get famous, we'd be surprised at who the people who would pull the trigger on us would be. I would hate to be in a position like that where like one thing I did previous, because I've done all kinds of shit. Like it's funny you say the F word. One time I was at a set and I don't know what got into me. I'll explain it, and it is what it is. This is what I did. I was at a Dave Schofer room and there was a thing where Dave and I didn't like each other. So I was willing to go places that might make his show bad. As a professional, I never would have done this in a promoter's room that I liked, but I did not like Dave and I was outward about it.
So you had you were trying to settle.
This isn't
you
why
had a vendetta.
I did it. This is why I was willing to do it. Does that make sense? It was Mother's Day and nobody was there. My mom was there. One other person was there. They were like two people were distracted enough by the TV where they were like adamantly not into the comedy show. We're performing in front of comics. There's no real audience. Nobody paid for the show. And I go up. It was at Sonoma's in Columbia. And my set, nobody was listening to my set. And I was like, I could basically say whatever I want right now. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, I might as well just up here. And this is what I said. I just was like, I might as well just be up here being like, fag, like that.
Yeah.
And then, boy, did I get on a streak. And you know how I take something and run with it. I had a solid 2 minutes of just somebody, oh, look at that fag. And it's like, you don't know what's gotten into you. But then you're getting a reaction. Like, people were smiling and shaking their heads. And I had a philosophy early on in comedy, and that was still in the cusp of like my early stages, where as long as I was entertaining and people were paying attention to what I was saying, I was okay with it. If they wanted to know where I was going to go next, it worked for me.
Well, and obviously you two guys do comedy. I don't. I have no background in that whatsoever. Just doing this podcast and then being in a band is the only time I've ever done anything for other people, like in front of an audience type deal. But it just seems like that. And it's kind of like a cop-out thing to say, because so many people make the point, but comedy should be the safe place. It should be the place where you can go into a small bar in Canton, say not whatever the fuck you want, but say some racy shit to elicit a response and a reaction. And that reaction and response should not be, let's bury this motherfucker.
Yeah, dude.
The response should be, you either laugh or you fucking don't. And then you walk out of the bar 20 minutes later or whatever, saying, out of 4 comics, hypothetically there's 4 comics, you walk out saying, I liked these 3, I didn't like this one guy, and that's the fucking end of it. Because your material, if there's one person that doesn't like it, your material is ultimately going to decide whether or not you go anywhere, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you also, like, I think too many times people are using the fact that I'm a comedian as a caveat to just say whatever they want. Like, at the end of the day, it still has to be funny. Like,
yeah.
Like, like, it was last week I was at a open mic in Frederick, and I was working out new material that talked about the autism spectrum and how, like, everyone
we've been there.
How everyone is on the autism spectrum, like in the same way that the Kinsey scale exists and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And after the fact, one of the comics came up to me and said, you've got a good premise there, polish it up, it could be great. And then he goes on stage and tells 4 minutes of unfunny rape jokes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God. I can relate, dude. If you've had people who come up to you and they're all about you, and then you see them and you're like
I can't hold this person's opinion for shit.
Yeah, I've had that happen a lot, man. It's too good to be true. Like, this guy, oh man, that bit was amazing. I love this. You were the funniest guy to know all this, and then they go up and you're like, oh, why does it have to be
why am I
that
connecting
guy?
with this guy?
Yeah, that happens all the time. So the reason it's funny, the other thing he said with the spectrum thing is because I was thinking of how a premise for a bit would be that comedy is an untapped mark. There's a lot of untapped things in comedy because it's very new. Like, if you look before the 70s, most things are not funny. Most comedy movies, it's a very acquired taste, maybe a lot of physical comedy, but like stand-up comedy didn't really get very funny until like Richard Pryor days. Like, where it's obviously funny by today's standards back then.
It holds up, that type of stuff.
So there's going to be a lot of untapped kind of things that are going to come up over the next 20, 30 years with comedy before most things have been covered outside of topical technology or things that have yet to happen. But I swear, and I really think that the idea of like a joke about how Down syndrome is an untapped comedy market is an angle you'd have to tastefully craft it. So I'm sitting in my car and I'm like, man, like, how can I get this point across where like we all know this shit's funny, but how can I get us all to agree that we know it's funny to us, dude? And I'm like, remembering this time, it reminded me of this story. I had to tell it on here. my brother and I were in church, and we were going to see the movie. Do you remember it was like Dan Aykroyd and Daniel Stern? Daniel Stern's the guy from Home Alone movies.
Yeah.
And they were Boston Celtics.
Yes. Oh my God.
Celtic Pride.
Celtic Pride.
Beantown, baby, Beantown.
Yeah,
that was in the commercial. Well, we wanted to see that movie so bad. Me and my brother wanted to see it, dude. So bad.
They kidnap one of the players, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what wound up, I didn't get to see it because in church that day, there was a guy who I believe had Down syndrome. He looked the part. And he also had a tick, not a cuss word tick, but like you just sound like you're sneezing, but you're saying a word kind of too at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, like Tourette's or?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Tourette's. He had Tourette's.
Not Down syndrome.
No, but he also had something else, dude. I think he was a Down syndrome guy that just yelled occasionally, and it seemed like a mixture.
Maybe it was just...
You're more open to that kind of stuff. Like, you got one, it's like a magnet sometimes.
Like,
there's
do you remember the YouTube series called the Tourette's guy?
That's like Unbreakable Day. Like, that's early days of YouTube funnies. I believe that might have been fake. Do you think that was fake?
I think it was fake. Like,
yeah, at the time people believed it because that was like an untapped market back then. Like playing a character on like a YouTube series was like a new thing. But dude, my brother and I were in the middle of St. Mary's, like the most like straight buttoned up Catholic church there is. Like, you don't even get to eat bread. You got to eat this little stale wafer and like, no, it's not fun at all, dude. The guy sounded awful. That fucking was the worst. Well, we're at this, everyone's wearing suits and ties, and this guy keeps making noise, dude, and it's too funny. It is too funny.
How old were you?
It's the elephant in the room, man. Celtic Pride. It had to be in the 90s.
Yeah, you were young as shit.
I was young, dude. And my brother and I, the whole service, were getting pinched by my mom, like, stop laughing. And, dude, we're dying in the middle of church. And
you're that age, like if somebody farts in church, are you supposed to just like contain yourself?
Dude,
no, you
I'm
can't.
shocked it wasn't more infectious. Like, how did these people keep it together? Like, how did these husbands who are like looking at these kids laughing at this dude fucking yelling out in the middle of church, like, how weren't more people chuckling at that? Because, you know, like, you pass laughter on, like, once one person laughs at the elephant in the room, but it must have not as been as funny as we thought it was.
It's children versus adults.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are gonna laugh whatever's whatever they think is funny. Adults aren't gonna laugh at the retarded man yelling out because they know they shouldn't.
Right, they've tamed that side of themselves.
It's the innocence that comes with children. They don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it. They just know that something's funny.
Yeah, so my idea for the bit was I was like toying with things like I would talk about like what it would be like if somebody with Down syndrome was doing a stand-up comedy set. And like if you could get him to just tell some stories like off the cusp, like, or like an interview, like you could like interview people with disabilities and just hear their point of view.
Yeah.
Like I know that it really is offensive to pigeonhole it into the comedy spectrum.
Yeah.
Like I get that that's a little fucked up to say that it's sheerly comedy gold and nothing else, because there'd be probably like a tender side to it. It would pluck on different heartstrings, but that is solid. There is something about people with Down syndrome. It's I don't know, man. There's something. That's as much as I'm going to talk about it on this episode, because I got to just spread the wealth a little bit.
Yeah.
Can't tell you too much of what's in my back pocket. We'll get kicked off of every platform we have.
But you're gonna get canceled before you get on.
But
SNL.
I was like, man, like, where could I even work material? Like, where would I even be able to begin going and telling those jokes? Fortunately, people in the scene know me, but you would have to really tell some bits that like sell yourself as like a legit comic before you go into some material like that.
Yeah,
that's
gain
not your
trust
opener.
with the audience, sure.
Yeah, just thinking about it, because we've had people in our scene. We had a guy in our scene get like called out because he said wench or something, and he's like, remember when Ben
he said
Brodo?
mensch.
Mensch. What is that?
Oh, it's a good.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, like you're like of high moral character. You're a mensch.
And then she said,
it's a Yiddish term though, like Jewish term.
I thought somebody said, well, what is that? And then mean, and then he said an archaic slut. I thought that's what he said it meant. But either way, There was something little like that.
No, they had thought he said wench because...
Oh, and maybe somebody was just explaining what a wench was. Dude, it was so... And this is like the... Have you ever met Ben?
Yeah.
The nicest, like most soft-spoken in like a gentle way. And he's like very open-minded and... I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying he's not like sexist or prejudiced in any way, but I mean, it doesn't really seem like it at all. He's not that type of person. But because it was at this place, Zissimo's, dude, they wanted to put his head on a stake.
Really?
Oh my God, he got banned from doing comedy there for a while, and it was like a huge blow up on the internet, all because he said one thing to somebody who was like talking loudly during his set.
So he called someone a wench?
Dude, this was like, it's like, remember the Daniel Tosh thing? When the lady's like, so he says, tell me a topic, I'm going to talk about it, I don't have any material. And somebody says rape, and then the lady said, rape's never funny. And then he said, well, wouldn't it be funny if somebody just raped her right now? And like, that was his line. That was his crowd work, dude. And it was huge. Now I get why that blew up. You're Daniel Tosh.
Yeah.
This lady outed you. People are going to have opinions on that. They're going to read into it what they read into it. If they have a low opinion of Daniel Tosh, they're definitely going to hate it.
Yeah.
But all this guy, he had a word. Oh my God. He actually was somebody who could come on talking about the near-death experiences, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to get him on, but he could tell that story a little better. That was serious shit, dude. Like, he was probably, his life went upside down that night for a little while. That had to be serious turmoil in his life, all because he went to some shitty open mic as a shitty open micer.
Yeah,
he's a new comic.
So fucked up.
And he's trying to crowd work, and somebody's being disruptive, so you're angry, but it's not like you're venting in an angry way. You're just not mentally clear.
Yeah.
And you're not signing off on everything you say. You're just saying.
And it's to kind of beat a dead horse. It's just frustrating that's where things are now.
Yeah.
And you, James, especially, because you're still in it, Mike's, and you're not in the comedy scene anymore. No. I was never. And you gotta, if you come up with anything, you gotta tiptoe around everybody to fucking cater to people's sensibilities.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a tough one in the comedy scene. It definitely is, and it's timely considering the stuff that just happened with the releasing of the 2 new specials on Netflix, and then Shane Gillis with SNL. Basically, Shane Gillis, the guy we were talking about earlier, who he said some things on a podcast that got replayed.
A fucking comedy podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, just in the 12 episodes that we've done, you could pick out 17 things that we've said that would fucking just... If anything happened, the people would pull that shit up. Not that they would, because we don't have any notoriety. There's nothing behind us. But people could pluck out shit instead of just either fucking turning it. That's what I wanted to say about the Shane Gillis situation is people were pulling up shit from his fucking podcast. The thing about a podcast is it's not like social media. The shit's not getting thrown in your fucking face. You have the ability to not listen to a podcast. So you want to go through and comb through this dude's past, regardless of if it was 6 weeks ago or 6 years ago, and then throw that shit to burn his career? You're a fucking loser. Like, you've got nothing better.
It definitely depends on what he did. I mean, you can't just say anything on a podcast.
No. I know.
Yeah.
But
what he said was very.
I think he said something. Something about Asians. I haven't heard it.
He dropped chink.
Yeah, he said that.
He said he hopes they all die. No, he didn't say that. It was just like telling a story. They were
I just think
didn't want, like maybe it was an Asian cuisine initially. It doesn't matter.
I just think it's bullshit how you can say you can be sitting down having a conversation with 2 people or 3 people for comedy's sake, and it just gets thrown in your face.
This is another one that's tough, dude. And I hate being like. I definitely don't want to make this podcast white male people problems, because there's really, you're beating a dead horse as far as like, it's not that severe of a thing. But like, as somebody who ran a comedy show, can you remember what it was like when you were like trying to figure out like what girl can I get on this show that'll fit this audience, or like how can I make this more diverse? And it's like you're looking at like 90+% of white males in your inbox every fucking day, like, can I please get on your show, can you please book me? And then like you're trying to fill a lineup out, but then if this girl's not available or this girl cancels, you can't. And then you get comments, people make comments about how there's no diversity on your lineups.
No,
you
you're
drop
right.
a flyer. It's pressure. Oh, I was just going to let you know. Oh my, this is my. It's good. That's my morning. I was just letting you know it's around 2:55, and then
Why?
It was letting James know when it was like getting closer to when he needed to leave. Also, it's probably about the 50-minute mark. If we're going to do 2 today, maybe another. This is one thing we could do. What time did you need to leave by?
Like 3:30. I've got plenty of time. So.
Awesome. Let's plan on doing like another 15-ish or so, 20. That way we can get a second one in before we got to go.
Yeah, that's fine.
Were you interested in either? You can also be a part of the Tuvan thing. Do you want to judge us on what sounds more like Tuvan throat singing?
I don't know that I'm familiar enough with Tuvan throat singing to really judge.
Bring it up real quick. I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, you want me to bring up what it sounds like?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a few different styles. Let me pull it up on my phone.
And just like you'll listen to it and get a gist for what it is and how kind of how it's supposed to sound.
Yeah, it's essentially just singing. You know that it's like singing with multiple tones at the same time. And then the way they stylize it is different. I guess song to song or singer to singer. Like some of them actually say words.
Like, is it supposed to sound good or?
It's not. It's a whole different style. I guess to them, it might be kind of like a spiritual thing they do. But here's an example. Let's see. No, this is an ad. Not on our podcast.
Throat singing about Liberty Mutual? What?
Yeah.
Not a sponsor? It almost sounds like that one character from South Park that has to speak through the voice box.
Oh my God, yeah, Ned.
Ned.
Oh my God, I bet Ned could kill throat
I
singing.
can throat sing.
Ooh, I gotta practice before Steve gets back. Kind of tickles my throat. I think he might beat me on this one. He said he practiced before. We also could do our other. Oh my God. See, this is when they're saying words. Not all of them do. Let me see if I can get one more little style in here.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yes,
like
it's
I don't
weird.
hate it. It's just.
All right, hold on. You get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I played 2 examples. The other one I think was a good. The other one was probably a little better than the one you're just hearing. But
the white guy.
No, I did 2. Whatever the hell they are.
Was it like a? I guess.
No, dude. I just picked up the one I was just playing was from a TED Talk. The one before that was like one of the first hits for Tuvan throat singing, and he was like, he looked Japanese, but he's probably not.
No, they're.
I know they're
like
not
Mongolian. Or
something. That's just I guess that makes sense. So
did you hear like the overtones coming out, like the whistle? Okay. That's the most important part.
I think a way we should do it is because it's going to take. I think we should each get 1 minute on the clock to do our best job at doing it. And if he's not able to decide, it doesn't matter. But he can partake as far as like whether or not we're doing it or not, or who's closer. So, do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. And there's just going to be a minute on the clock. Do you want to do a timer on your phone? Can you do that? Or
use
I can
my
do a
phone
timer.
right now.
you can do a timer?
Sure.
All right, give me a countdown.
That's a calculator.
Have you tried it all?
I did not practice this as much as I wanted to, but I tried for I probably spent about 8 minutes one day and then maybe like 10 minutes another day and then maybe like 3 minutes another day.
Okay.
So a little bit driving.
Yeah.
And I watched a video on it, but I don't really. It's easier when I'm listening to it and trying to replicate it. I can find it a little better. That's why I think it's going to take me like 30 seconds before I even get it going. But I have a minute to do it. If I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't
Okay.
think I can actually do it.
Minute to win it.
Yeah, minute.
You
minute
either
to
got
Need,
it in a
like,
minute.
Any like warm up or?
I'm just gonna the first 20 seconds. I'll just figure. No.
No, because like Steve left to use the bathroom when really he was like warming up.
That's
so.
what he was
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
He's gargling like fucking like warm oil. All right. So are you ready? You'll just start the timer when I start.
Yeah, I'll start the time when you start. No
right.
weird countdown or anything like that.
Hold on. I got this. It's a long minute.
That is a long minute.
Got 10 seconds. All right.
I'm good with that.
Okay,
I didn't
yeah,
get
that's
into
good.
it. I imagine when I listened to it and tried replicating it, I figured a couple things out, like another
Well,
step or two down the line.
here's
but
the-
I couldn't get. Yeah,
Here's the thing. Well, because I have the headphones on, and I could start to kind of hear the overtones coming out a little bit.
right.
But in
No.
a minute, if I can find it, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Okay, I believe it. No, I believe you're better at it than me with this.
Oh man, I'm nervous.
It does. It gets you a little. See, I don't think you've experienced that yet on the podcast where you're on the spot on something like this. Because when I went to play guitar or even sing, I was like, my legs shook a little weird. It was
Yeah.
like your first time jitters.
Recording, man. As soon as that, when you're in the spotlight and on the spot, that
Yeah.
shit's a completely different beast.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know
You should
from
take your headphones off though, because that makes it fair. Because it is different when you can hear yourself in the headphones.
Okay.
So just because.
All right. Oh man, my fucking heart is pumping.
I know. I knew, dude. That
I'm
was like
scared.
that was my back pocket. Was that what if he gets that lightness in his voice where he can't even make a full tone, like that nerves kick in,
I'm fucking scared, man.
and it's a long minute.
For real. All right.
Timer will start when you start.
All right.
I can do this. No, I'm sorry. What if I was just trying to pretend to be you? Like, they're just listening. You
Thank
got
God.
This, Steve. I got this.
Thank God you're not editing this. All right. Man, my heart is fucking pounding.
You got this.
All right. Did you hear it though?
You started to get it better than I think.
All right, hold
yeah.
on. Give me a
You've
second.
already-
How much
you've
time
gone
do
a-
I have?
30 seconds.
You've
All right.
already went a little past me.
I lost it on that one.
Yeah.
You got
You
one
have
more
10
10 seconds.
seconds. You wanna- Time.
All right.
I'll let you go a little bit longer just because I think you
Disqualified. He went over the time.
DNF.
you'd found something.
Shit.
I think you definitely tapped into it more than I did.
Yeah, dude. I've done a little bit of research on it. I haven't put the time into it that I should have, but
Yeah.
it.
The other question is, are you even prepared to do the other one?
What, the singing?
Yeah.
I can. I didn't practice it. I practiced it for maybe 15 minutes.
Okay.
I just need the lyrics.
Okay. Do you want to do that? You would have to go first on this one.
I'll do it. Can you bring the lyrics up on your phone?
Yes.
This is the second part of the episode 11 challenge. Is the who's the better singer? Okay, so James, who was better at the Tuvan throat singing?
Steve.
Hands
Yes.
down.
I didn't even get it at all. Maybe for a split second. I've tapped into it, but not quite like you did. You held a pitch for a while.
Yeah, like your opening pitch was like a solid 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is I'm
And like it wasn't just like the longevity of it either, like the fact that I could hear like different twangs.
yeah, like the overtones coming out. So it's like meditation and stuff like that. I don't really get into. It's not that I don't buy into it. It's just something that I'd never looked into. But in preparation for this challenge and researching Tuvan throat singing, it's like they call it like Earth's music or something weird like that. And people who talk about doing it say that there is like a meditative state that you get into doing it, and it's fucking weird, man. It like you do when I was because the only time I practiced it was in the car, like driving to work or driving home from work, and you just get in this spot where your head's clear and you just feel, because it's all about coming from your chest and like a resonance in your chest, and it's not really your vocal cords, but it's just coming from like your diaphragm and shit like that. And you do kind of slip into this meditative state where your head's clear and you're just focused on this one droning note, and then the overtones coming out on top of that. It's a weird thing.
Let me try one more length of a thing, not a minute. I mean like one breath worth, and see, I think I was pushing pretty hard. I think I was using too much like force.
Well, no, that's apparently that's the thing, is you tighten. Excuse me. I can hear the overtone a little bit. No. Yeah, there it is a little bit.
It's very mild.
That's enough.
You did better though. But so this is what I was thinking.
Mike's leg just touched, or Mike's foot just touched my
I'd
shin.
be able to go in and figure out how to get a glass of water. And there's one thing James should do too before he leaves is talk about how he has a new podcast that is dropping like right now.
Yeah,
did you already release it?
We
yet?
botched that with Tommy the last time.
I know.
Well,
but we're not
He
at the
can
end
do any
yet.
sort of plug or anything he wants. I mean, it could be in this part of the episode. Doesn't matter. It could be at the top even. But
yeah, I've launched a new podcast.
will I be able to figure out where water is?
Yeah, in the sink.
Well, I know, but like a glass. Never.
There's the cupboard, or the right next to the refrigerator, to the left is where the cups are. Cool. Sorry, James. Go ahead.
So yeah, I've launched a new podcast. It's called Tune In Next Week.
Yeah.
And it's I don't want to say it's high concept because it's really not, but the idea behind it is I'm not able to record a podcast. So each episode is me apologizing for 2 or 3 minutes
of why you can't
I can't do it. So like the first one, I made up some story about how I got beat up by kids and they took my lunch money and shoes and tied me to a flagpole. This past week, I actually talked about my trip to Austin, and this will go on for however long I can keep it up.
So like each episode then kind of has like a backstory of why you couldn't do the episode?
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
And like I haven't been too open about it on like my podcast page or my social media, even though I did hint at something like not like 9 months ago. I made like a post on Twitter and said, you know, I want to do a podcast exactly like this. And finally had enough like follow through to do it. But yeah, it's just an excuse for me to have like just this long running gag for however long I can keep it up.
As long as the inspiration's there. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then you just, from there, just talk about whatever you want.
Yeah. Just leave it like 2, 3, 5 minutes, like however long it takes to just, you know, tell my story for that week.
Oh, so it's not like a long form thing. It's just a quick hit.
Extremely short.
That's cool.
Oh, wow. I like that. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
That's
it's
really
something
cool.
where, like, you know, everybody's like, oh, well, I don't have time to listen to Joe Rogan's podcast for 3 hours. That's great. Mine is 3.5 minutes. Enjoy.
Yeah, no shit. Listen to it while you're walking the dog real quick or something.
For the singing, I think we should both wear a headphone. Like we'll pass the headphone, right? Or like the headphones, like in
if
between.
you want.
Or off headphones, one or the other.
We'll go off headphones because that's the control.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Let me give you the lyrics.
Yeah.
You remember how the song goes, right?
Kind of. I listened to it like twice.
Oh, jeez. You're the one who said you wanted to pick this song.
Well, because you started singing it, so I just went with what you were doing.
It might, to just keep it from turning off by moving it around a little.
It's just that I know you've been hurt by someone else.
I mean,
I can tell by the way you carry yourself.
Yeah,
but if you let me, here's what I'll do. I'll take care of you. That was the line that you.
I went.
That was not sung at all. You need to put more effort in.
Yeah, that was the example.
Technically, I did some of the second verse. If you feel comfortable, you can do the second, like the first two chunks if you want. I mean, because it might take you a line or two to even find your voice, dude.
Fuck it. I'm going off the cuff. I'm shooting from the hip on this bitch.
Are you just doing the top? Stanza?
I'm gonna sing what I just said.
All right.
And then it is what it is. Hold on, let me pop the headphones off. Damn,
this is gonna get
just
you nervous.
as nervous again.
More nervous, probably.
Because I can't even remember how the fucking song goes.
Do you need to play it? Let's play it for a second.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'm gonna play the first two verses because I'm gonna just sing the other few lines there, or whatever it is. All right.
Oh yeah, I think I remember it.
I know you've been hurt by someone else. I can tell by the way you carry yourself. But if you let me, here's what I'll do. I'll take care of you.
All right, that's what I'll
try
say.
and do this part.
Loved and lost.
Well, no,
Okay.
because that's not. In the
You didn't
little
listen to it enough. Okay.
in the little preparation that
Just
I've
the
done.
first part.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here it is. Oh shit.
You got this.
All right. I know you've been hurt by someone else. I can tell by the way you carry yourself. But if you let me, here's what I'll do. I'll take care of you.
All right.
Good enough?
Yes.
All right,
right.
now it's your turn.
All right.
Hold on, wait. What are we judging on here?
Singing.
Who's better?
Yes.
James?
Who hits the lyric? Yeah. Who hits the lyrics more? What are we judging on? Who looks better when they sing?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man, my face is flushed. I'm embarrassed.
I know you've been hurt by someone else. I can tell by the way you carry yourself. But if you'll let me, here's what I'll do. I'll take care of you. I'll just end there too.
Okay.
Oh, you weren't going to do that?
All right.
No. That's not the competition. No.
Loved and lost, the same
Disqualified.
as you.
You went over time.
So did you. I win the Tuvan throat singing. You win the singing competition.
Deal. Canceled out.
Both due to disqualification.
Yeah. All right,
James?
James.
I think Mike gets this one.
Okay, I'll give it to him.
All right.
I do
Reasoning.
think, he put more soul into it,
More soul.
and I think
He's also been singing.
he's also, I guess, more familiar with the song.
Yeah.
than
That's
you
a
are,
big
so-
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good. That would be a
Like
tough
if you
one.
want to like run this back, it might be it might be best to pick something that both of you guys are.
Everyone would know, like At Last
Yeah.
or something, or
Yes, please sing Etta James.
yes,
My time. I don't even know the words.
yeah. At
My time is come and
last.
gone.
Yeah,
That's
see,
what
I
it is.
see the tone. I can't do it. That would be a tough one. Let's not do that.
No,
song.
that's one
No, that's
like
a hard
another
one.
karaoke song people shouldn't try to sing.
Yeah, I don't even know what
Unless
would be a
you
good
can
one.
fucking sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to run. We'll have to figure that out in the future.
All right.
All
so,
Star by Smash Mouth.
Yes. Hey, now you're an all-star.
Oh shit! How's it start? Ah, fuck. I know all the words to that goddamn song
Everyone
too.
knows all the words to that song.
No, that's Walking on the Sun.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually a cool song.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb with a finger and a thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years stop coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and they hit the ground running. Did it make sense not to live for fun? Your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know if you don't go. Go! Never shine if you don't glow. Glow! Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. Hey now.
I'm doing patty cake drummer over here.
That shit went on for way
Anyone
too
know how to do
long.
patty cake? That's how we drum.
Wait, it's knee clap.
I
That's
did miss
patty
that
cake,
part.
right?
I just did the first two parts.
Ah, okay.
That's my drums. That's
Fuck. Well, looks
Yeah.
like we all know the words to All Star.
everybody loses when we all do all star.
Yeah.
Nobody wins on that one. Fuck.
Not all stars.
So is there anything else you want to plug, James, or anything else?
Yeah, I talked about tune in next week, my podcast.
Do you have like social media for that
Yeah,
or
let's hear
anything?
it.
Or
I have a Facebook page for that. I'm in the process of slowly renaming it because it's the Facebook page for my previous podcast, The Hang.
yeah.
So like maybe in a week or two I can change the name proper. I've also got just my Instagram. Follow me at James Finstagram. And
Is that new?
yeah, I've recently changed my name.
Used to be the real James Finn. Is that right?
I
Or
used to
no?
be James T. Finn, and then for a month or two I was at Looks Like a Great Show.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of great shows, if you're in the Baltimore area, Wednesday the 25th, I am at Das Beer Hall in Parkville. I'll be featuring for Baltimore legend Mickey Coachella.
Oh.
$5 get you in.
When's that? Wednesday?
Next, or from today, next Wednesday the 25th of September.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Big Mick.
Big Mick.
Big Mick.
That's cool. Is that your first time featuring for him?
Yes.
That's nice. That's a big dude. That's going to be fun. I've done it a couple times. It's a lot of fun because I don't know if he still does, but he probably is going to have a decent audience there.
Yeah,
and they want to
no,
laugh.
he's still a good draw.
I was going to
Oh,
say,
yeah.
does he still bring people in?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
'cause-
More than bar comedy. Like,
What?
more than anyone else in bar comedy, in local bar comedy, he actually has a fan base. I mean, not
Yeah.
many name a comedian from Baltimore that, like, even the people from listening to 98 Rock, like Jim Meyer is a comedian who's been on 98 Rock a lot. He doesn't necessarily have a local fan base. He has some friends in the area and people who know him, but
Yeah.
like nobody might show up from the local scene just to see the other most famous. Like, who would you say is another person that you know from the Baltimore scene?
Comedian?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a handful. There's,
Like a headliner that you would assume would pack a crowd, or who do you think would be a draw of any sort?
I mean, the obvious ones like Justin
Yes.
Schlegel, Joe, Rob Mayer.
See, I don't think Rob Mayer and Joe are draws really at all. Maybe a little bit. It's hard to even find the market of people that know them to sell it to.
I think so. I think they're big names. Maybe not Joe so much anymore, but
But
Rob
now,
definitely is.
But now you're getting a taste of what it's like on the inside of comedy. If Rob Mayer is headlining a bar show, do you expect any fans of his to show up?
Touch and go. Depends. Like,
What would be your guess as far as like average show? A guy like it's nothing to discredit Rob.
No,
Most
no,
people
no,
agree.
no.
And he does have fame. He does have some national notoriety. Like, some people know him. He has some good credits. He makes a living, I believe, doing comedy, or at least he makes a decent income doing comedy, headlines, clubs. But if he's at your show and you're marketing him on your Facebook page, word of mouth, whatever, on his social media, there's a chance no one's coming out to it. And more than average, I would say over under, I would bet the under on 5 people who are from a fan base on a bar show. I would say under 5 on average for somebody like that.
Really?
When I've booked like Larry Lancaster, who's like a bigger local comic, I've heard people who know him. Nobody comes out for that. Now, that could just be poor promotion.
Yeah.
But, maybe if you had like a radio ad, or maybe if you put it in the newspaper, I don't know where you'd put it. Just a Facebook event, just marketing to patrons of a bar, just to your friends. It's hard, dude. There's nobody who is a draw outside of new comics.
No, promotion's tricky. It really
Yeah,
is.
brand new comics bring people usually.
Because like when I was running my show at Home Slice, like I was booking solid comics, like nobody nearly like a headline type level usually, because I was had a limited budget and running show on a Saturday. I'm not getting a headliner to come to my show for $20, but just marketing the actual event itself, I was able to pack the house every night.
Really?
Until they decided to stop doing it for skee ball.
Yeah.
Home Slice in Canton?
Home Slice in Canton.
And
Yeah,
that just
pizza
comes
rocks.
because you're booking like
It's really good pizza.
8 comics. You're hoping a few of them, you're giving an opportunity to somebody who's newer, and it's a book show, so they might bring some people. You're booking a couple of bigger comics. Maybe they'll bring a couple people, maybe the patrons of the bar, but it's still not, usually not a fan base of the people typically.
Really?
I don't think so.
I was just...
More fan bases of the comedy show, like certain venues have had shows that are popular because they've run a comedy show there week after week for so long.
And people know what's going on.
You get
and
show
what's there.
regulars.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
brand. No different than like Color Me Funny.
Color Me Funny had it with all their venues. When we booked Dan St. Germain, nobody came for Dan St. Germain. And Brandon Lascure made a thing to advertise it as much as he possibly could. We were marketing it on every subreddit that possibly could see it, every way you could think to see it. All 6 of us were blasting it on our Facebook multiple times. It was tagging all the comics, making sure they promoted it. Nobody came out. And Dan St. Germain, he was a big comic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was doing like at midnight at that time. And
yeah, like a real comic. And like, I mean, like an actual professional comic who headlines, national tours, all that. And nobody came for it.
That's wild.
Yeah, we actually paid $50 out of our pocket plus the check from the Dark Horse or Oyster House, whichever one it was, to even make it work. Or it might have even been Delia Foley's. But either way, we paid him more than the budget and nobody came.
Huh.
So I know. It's crazy.
That's a world I know nothing
So
about.
all that being said, Mickey Coachella is the biggest draw locally. Still probably.
Yeah.
Justin Schlegel's up there. Wendy probably is one of the next.
Wendy's got to have a big draw.
Yeah, she's
because
definitely
she's got
a
the
name.
98 Rock exposure and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people like to support. This is